60% of our population is literally living paycheck to paycheck, meaning that all of us, majority of the people in this state and across this country, are struggling just to be able to live the life.
Hi, welcome to the Even Better podcast, hosted by Sinikka Waugh from Your Clear Next Step. We are here to bring you exciting, high-energy content focused on making our community stronger by helping you get even better at work. If you're ready to level up, we have several incredible upcoming classes you won't want to miss. Head over to yourclearnextstep.com/events and sign up today.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Even Better podcast. This is your host, Sinikka Waugh, and I am so delighted to welcome you back to this part of our mission here at Your Clear Next Step to help us all have even better work days so that together we can co-create better communities. And today I am ecstatic to welcome Nathan Sage. Nathan, welcome. I'm so glad to have you join us today.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
This is a joy. So for those of you who don't know Nathan, it is time, man. You're going to get to hear his story. You're going to get to hear things about him. I am so thrilled that Nathan took a few minutes to spend some time with us. If you've not checked out his podcast, do that. If you've not been following his career, you should check out his stories. And his message of bringing us together just really resonate with me. And I have the sheer joy of being local to Nathan. So we sometimes we sometimes have neighbors in common. We show up in some of the same places. I've got some fun stories that we can maybe get into of moments where people that we know in common have been in the same moment at the same time in the hardware store, for heaven's sakes, and we get the photos to prove it. So just shop local, support local, and connect locally in our neighborhoods kind of people. So Nathan, I don't want to take even a second away from your story, and so we're gonna do this. But I wanted to stop and let our listeners just remember that here at Your Clear Next Step, we have been on this long journey to help people have better work days so that together we can co-create better communities. And we interview folks of like all the journeys, right? So we are listening for people who are out there talking about community, talking about bringing us together, talking about the difference that we can make as individuals in a community, talking about ways to co-create better communities. And so I've invited Nathan to come and join us because he's doing that, and he's been doing it visibly and publicly for a bit now. And so Nathan, will you tell us a little bit about your story?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thank you for having me. I used to do this all the time where I'd say it's like, if you didn't know me now, this is the way I like to say it. Marine, soldier, mechanic, sports radio host, former executive director of the Knoxville Chamber of Commerce, but most of all, I'm just a kid that grew up in poverty in North Iowa and Mason City. And for me, growing up was an experience of, trying to figure out what to do. So I joined the Marine Corps out of high school. I went to Iraq in 2004, again in 2006. Came home, was a mechanic in Mason City up there for a while. I started my family and then realized really quick it wasn't the life that I wanted, like the mechanic side of things. And I really missed the military. And I tried to get back in actually to the Marine Corps. They told me, sorry, bud, we're not taking prior enlisted. So joined the Army, did the next best option, and joined the Army in 2008, got stationed at Fort Riley, Kansas, went to Iraq in 2010 for my third time, and then came back and realized for the first time I have a GI Bill. I have an opportunity to get educated because coming from poverty, I never thought I would. And I got my GI Bill, and I worked nights at a place called GTM Sportswear, supporting my family, and eventually graduated Kansas State University with a degree in journalism and mass communication. Came up to Iowa because it was the best opportunity for me and my family, especially when it came to pay. That was a big indicator for us. And started working at KNIA Radio in Knoxville. That's why I got the Knoxville hat on, obviously, and did that. Was working there. Had the opportunity. I knew some friends from a gym, actually, Chris Gordon, Tara Gordon, who run the gym up there, and they had an opportunity with the Knoxville Chamber of Commerce, an opening, and they knew how much I cared about the community and how much I brought business into them with just things I did with video and radio, and decided to put my hat in for the ring for executive director of the Knoxville Chamber of Commerce. I did that, got that job in 2023, and we had RAGBRAI in 2024. That's why I got my RAGBRAI shirt on as well. But we brought that community together. We started bringing business in, and then I had just out of sheer luck, I don't really know how to describe it, had the opportunity to put my hat in the ring. I like to blame Dr. Bob Leonard a lot, but he was a big influencer on me getting in my head in the political ring. Ran for the United States Senate. We raised $1.4 million, and that still wasn't enough to get us to the finish line because it costs a lot. But what I did when I did my time out there is, I talked about working class issues and the affordability and what life is like, and that's a big passion for me because I'm really tired of watching people struggle. I'm tired of the anger that we have in our country, of the division and the people that are just trying to make it every day. And I want to be what I can do to I want to do what I can do to bring hope and hopefully give people some realistic thoughts in their heads to understand that they're not here alone. They're not here by themselves. We have a lot of people that are struggling, and we're just trying to make this life better for people.
I love this. Nathan, thank you so much for sharing that story. And so there's so many pieces of this that I resonate with. So things that I want to pull out here. So my dad was U.S. Navy, so thank you for your service, right? And so you get the military aspect of this. You've got Chamber of Commerce, right? I'm a small business owner, and the idea and the things that chambers do to help bring our communities together. We're here in Indianola, and we do stuff with Knoxville all the time. We're supporting Knoxville and connected there. And in fact, we were I was there just last weekend, so doing all sorts of great stuff. And where I really want to anchor, though, I really, really, really want to anchor, is this idea of making communities better. The idea of bringing us together. The idea of connecting where people are and understanding how we co-create great communities. Because this is our life mission here at Your Clear Next Step, right? Helping people have better work days so we can co-create better communities. So one of the messages I've heard you say over and over again is you're not alone. Let's talk about that a little bit. When you say that, when that resonates with you, and you've heard that, and you've shared that, you share that at the doors when you were running for public office. I've heard you say it in other places. What do you mean by that? And what does that do when you see people hear that? When you've heard that, where are you going with that idea of you're not alone?
Well, I thought for a long time that I was doing something wrong, right? So I thought, like, why can't I afford the life that I'm trying? I have two daughters, my wife, my family. Why is it so hard? And I remember my wife coming home for a long time going, why? She just throw her stuff down. Why is it so hard? Right. And being angry. And you realize when I got into politics, that it was like, you learn stats and you learn what's going on. And you see that 60% of our population is literally living paycheck to paycheck, meaning that all of us, majority of the people in this state and across this country are struggling just to be able to live the life, like the American dream that we had in our heads of, like, hey, if I get a good job with good pay, I can afford a house, I can send my kids to college, and can retire with dignity. That dream for so many people across this country is not a reality a lot of the time. And so I want people to know that you're not struggling alone. There's a lot of people that are together in the struggle together, and we're trying to find a path forward for ourselves and for our families. And the idea of us continuously hating on each other or being angry at each other or divided over things that don't necessarily affect our daily life, that's what I mean, is that we're all in this together. We're all sitting here, we're all struggling, we're all trying to figure out the best options and best opportunities for our families and for our kids and for our lives. And I'm tired of people just tearing other people down to get above everybody else. And I think that people need to understand that when you're struggling and when you're dealing with mental health issues, or you're dealing with affordability, or you're just not in that mood where you feel like the next day is not going to come, like that, so many of us feel the exact same way. And I think I get that a lot from also my time in the military, being around so many other people and so many diverse individuals, that you realize, like, when I was in the drill instructors would all say, you're all green, like we're all wearing green, we're all green, we're all the same, and we're all together. And that's what also makes the military, United States military, so good, is they all are in on one mission. They're all in it together. You have each other's backs. And that's the mentality I wish we could get into our society, into the people that are struggling every day, to know that we're all here together. We're all struggling together. Let's give each other a little bit of grace. Let's give each other a little bit of time. Let's not be so angry all the time. Let's not be so defensive all the time. Let's literally have conversations with people and make this life better.
Yeah. You shared that interesting stat that 60% of us are living paycheck to paycheck. So I think there was this imagining that there's just a handful that are living paycheck to paycheck, or maybe if a person is struggling with that, well, I'm the only one, or that somehow the vast majority have it all figured out. I mean, social media, right? We scroll on. I know women do this. They scroll on Facebook and they look at or Pinterest or whatever, and they see all these examples of people who seem to have it all figured out, and this is the board that seems to look like it's perfect. What you're saying was 60%. That seems to imply that no, the vast majority don't have it all figured out. The vast majority don't have the right answer, and it's all, there seems to be some sort of illusion. So that's going to lead us to this scrolling thing. What have you been finding about the scrolling and the social media? Where is that helping
Well,
us
that's
in any way?
well, that's the thing is like I think I truly believe like so I told the people this on my campaign a long time ago. I said, you know, that that Americans, people in poverty, minorities, are very good at not letting people see their pain. So us as Americans, like we are dealing with stuff, we don't want other people to see or pity us or feel bad for us. We don't want to be that. Like a lot of people in this society don't want to be looked down on. And one thing for me that I always talked about is we got to stop pointing down at people and start pointing up at people that are putting us in this situation. And I think that, you know, a lot of people who, in their pain, like go to places like I know I like to watch movies. My wife likes to read books, likes to do crafts. A lot of people tend to just scroll on social media, and it's almost like this. You remember back in the day, what the well, I can't remember the name of the show, but it was like lifestyles of the rich and famous.
Oh, there you
That's
go.
the same. It's the same aspect of this is what I want to. These people are doing it, and so that's why you see so many people wear maybe a different type of shoe or a hat or the clothes they wear because they're trying to almost imitate that what they're seeing on the screen and what they're trying to do because they want to live a different life than what they're dealing with and the pain they're dealing with. And so for what I think a lot of people, and this is something I talked about many times on my tour, was because I was the only person in the race, by the way, to do the 99 county tour. So I've gone all over Iowa, and I
Mhm.
told everybody, I said, what has to happen is I know that my neighbors are not that much different than me. I know that the people in this community in Indianola and Knoxville and across South Central Iowa and across Iowa in general are not that different from one another. And I feel like when I was in Knoxville as the executive director of the Knoxville Chamber of Commerce, and we had Ragbri come through, it was we had 18,000 people downtown. We had a great, amazing time as a community, as a group. And it was like I realized in that moment, if we put our phones down, if we turn off our TVs, if we find reasons to come together and have conversations again, we'll realize really quick that we're all dealing with the same stuff and we can actually start to move forward from that. And I wish more and more people could stop watching the news nonstop, stop watching their phones nonstop, and realize that if you go outside and you work on your car, maybe somebody will come across and he'll talk about his car and he'll help you work on your, and you'll have a kind of a community moment. And that's what I believe really needs to happen in our country more than anything is just to be able to have conversations again that don't like it's funny because I'm in politics and I do political podcasts, but don't involve politics and don't involve the things that we're seeing on social media. We just talk about our kids, talk about life. And I always tell everybody stop talking about politics. The easy way to have a conversation. You want to have a real good conversation with people, talk about their kids. Talk about your kids. Be proud of your kids. Be proud of your family. If you talk about that, you'll see the smiles come out in them because everybody loves their kids. Everybody loves their families, and that is a connection that a lot of people can make. And if you don't have kids, talk about what your interests are and your hobbies are because those are the things that are going to bring people together.
Absolutely. So just recently, as we're recording this, just recently there were lots of opportunities for people to get together over community parades, right?
Mm-hmm.
The communities got together in the streets. And so to your point about political and not political, so I happened to be at a couple of parades, and while I was there, in my political career, right, I was there at a political float, and I was there as a candidate. I also had these opportunities to visit with people, and we talked about their families, and we talked about their kids. And one of the things that gave me just this wonderful piece of hope, I have so much hope for our state, so much hope for our future, because on our as we're standing there all gathered around, this is in the town of Milo, right? Milo, Iowa. We're standing there at the parade staging ground, and we got people in various colored shirts for this campaign and this campaign and that campaign, and a group of people gathered for this small business and that small business. And the teenagers, the high school kids, the little ones, and they're all wearing different t-shirts representing different things, but they're getting together and they're talking to each other, and they're either playing soccer or whatever they can in the staging area, or just hanging out and talking to each other, and their shirts don't match. Like, how cool is that? This makes me so happy. They're talking about whatever they want to talk about, and their shirts don't match. Ha! I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wish now we just got to find a way to get adults to be able to, let's give them a soccer ball and a football and baseball and have them run around and play with each other. But yeah, man, I miss that's one thing I miss about my campaign. It was the parades, and honestly, what I wanted to do when I was out there, and for me was I just want to listen to people, and I want to understand what people are going through. And I think that if we can get more people that can stop making things about themselves and start going, hey, I want to talk to my neighbors. I want to understand if they feel the same way I do. I think everyday life can improve day in and day out the more you start to open up to other people in your neighborhood. And if that's not for you, I understand that. I understand that. Well, talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to the people that are close to you, talk to those people, and maybe follow their path. What are they doing on the weekend? Who are they meeting with? And tag along with that so you meet new people. Maybe try something like that. But either way, we got to stop doing this all day long and then judging people because what we see on social media and creating more anger and division. I think that I'm so tired of this division. I'm so tired of people being angry. And yeah, I think at the end of the day, to make life more better for people to day in and day out, just talk to, and again, it doesn't have to be your neighbor. Talk to your coworkers, right? They're people that they're going to the same job you are. Like, they have the same interests. They have some of the same deals. They know how much they know how much we're all getting paid kind of the same. So you're all in the same book. Like, think about it that way, that you can actually have conversations. You might not necessarily like those people, but at the end of the day, if you have a real conversation with them, you might find something out. You might find that your kids like the same stuff, or they play Fortnite together and you didn't know it. Like, just little things like that can change your attitude and change your mindset.
Absolutely. This is one of those great places where this is a great opportunity to practice not talking politics, in fact, because at the workplace, we tend not to like. Hey, that's a great place to steer clear anyway.
Mm-hmm.
This is a great place to, over your lunch break, over your coffee break, while you're walking to the next meeting, pick up a conversation. Hey, what'd you guys do this weekend? Hey, what are your kids involved in? And if you don't have, to your point, Nathan, if you don't have kids and you don't want to talk about their kids, do you have a dog? Talk about your dog. Do they have a
Yes.
dog? Talk about their dog. If you don't know anything
Yes.
about their dog, ask about their dog. If you don't know anything about dogs at all, ask about their dog. Learn something about dogs. Ask, demonstrate a little curiosity. And if it's not dogs, then is it a hobby? Does somebody like hunting? Does somebody like fishing? Does somebody like to go out? Is there a sports team out there that you want to follow? Is there something going on that you want to pay attention to? Pick up any conversation. So when you were out in your 99 counties, we just rattled off like family and pets and hobbies. Any other top things that hit, or top hobbies that you saw, or family, of course, is one of those big ones. Any other top topics that hit in non-political things that brought us together in the 99 counties?
Well, I think one thing that it was interesting was I always thought was when I'd have a group of people, it could be 10 people, it could be 300 people. The amount of times you'd be talking and get done, and these people would like have a conversation, not necessarily about what you were saying, but like how they agreed on certain things. Like, and that was what I was going to say is like one thing that people talk about, and is like what we talked about a lot was affordability, right? Like, it's hard to make it, and working class is hard. But what would happen is these people would be like, hey, I got this deal at this Walmart, or I got this deal at this True Value. I got this. You got to go down here. And it was all of a sudden this networking of how to save money and this networking of how to take care of things. Like, some people were like, well, I had to go to this doctor and this and this. And they were like, well, stop doing that. You should see this person. And it was just this. And that's what I talk about, what I mean by community. And it's like, if we can talk about I mean, like I said, it doesn't have to be any. It can be anything. It's just the willingness. One thing I said on the campaign trail, I say all the time. My college professor put this in my head. Only one of the one things that stuck was there's no comfort in the learning zone, no learning in the comfort zone. The only way you are ever going to learn anything is to be uncomfortable. And that means having uncomfortable conversations with people you don't really necessarily always want to have conversations with. But when you have those conversations, that's when it starts to become comfortable again. And that's when you start to be able to, okay, it's like pushing the envelope, and you can talk about anything and talk about your books, talk about affordability. And that's what we saw across the 99 county tour, was just this mixing. And by the time we'd be leaving, they'd be shaking my hands, loving me. And then I'd be leaving, and they'd be still carrying on their conversations about, hey, this is coming up this week, we should do this. And it was just this community type moment. And I know that America can do the same thing. I know Iowa can do the same thing. It doesn't matter if you're whatever you are on the political spectrum. That doesn't matter. We're all in this together. We all are patriots of America. We're all trying to have the better life for each other. We all have the American dream. So if we can try and find ways to connect to each other, that's the way we're going to get past this. And I don't want it to be in a moment of tragedy, because when I think of when the time the United States was the closest together, that was after 9/11 is what I think of. And I don't want it to be like that. I want us to be close all the time. So that way we never have those terrorist attacks. We never have the issues, because they know that we are a united front every day, and that nobody's ever gonna do anything to us. And again, it goes back to, let's talk about things that are affecting everyday life. Let's talk about my car. Let's talk about affordability. And that's what we saw on that 99 county tour specifically. And I honestly wish I could have put a camera up in the room to like show people like just those conversations. And I tried to tell actually CNN and MSNBC, now MSN Now, about it. Was like, you guys don't understand. Like, Iowans want to talk. They want to come together. We're all inherently, for whatever reason, we're all friendly. We're all kind. That's the Iowa kindness. And for whatever reason, we've just been divided by political issues, by social media, by people telling us that we're not the same when we are the same. And, we just got to find that common ground.
We really are. There is so much more that unites us than divides us. One of the things that I've always marveled at is, especially as we talk about communication styles, which come out a lot in the workplace, I've marveled at the number of Iowans and the number of people in work who will say, oh, but I don't know how to make small talk, or I'm not comfortable with that. And so they're looking for tools, they're looking for skills. Iowans talk about the weather more than most people I know. And that's fair, right? Because if you go to San Diego, there's really only so many sentences you can say about the weather in San Diego. It's mostly the same most of the year. And here in Iowa, man, we get it all, and sometimes in the same day. So we do have a lot to say about the weather. But you want to go past that. And so as we've talked about these couple of ideas, I'm going to just branch over into communication styles for just a quick second here, thinking about how you lean into your own personality. So if you're a person who really likes people, then it might be really easy to ask people sort of topics. What did you guys do this weekend? Tell me about the times you've been with so-and-so, or hey, how are your kids doing? And maybe it's really easy to remember for you to remember those kids' names. Maybe you're a people person and that's easy for you. If you're not a people person, that might not be the easy thing for you. But maybe you are a data person, and maybe you've got deep curiosity in a particular topic. Well, then you can make small talk in something around that particular topic or that area. Hey, did you know that? Or hey, are you interested? Or hey, can I start up a conversation with you about X, Y, or Z? Chances are, did you know there's a great sale? So we'll take that affordability topic. Did you know there's a great sale going on? So go dive deep in one of these topics around affordability, or what's going on in the community. Or hey, did you know that there are opportunities to get more information about X, Y, or Z here? Maybe you're one of those people that likes to help. Maybe you're a natural helper, a natural server, a natural connector of people who can help others. This is a great way to know what deals are going on, who needs help in the community, what opportunities there are to serve. So that's a great thing to, before you go into one of those situations, to be aware of that, or have it handy on your in your schedule, or I'm going to not say on your phone, but in your schedule, so you can quickly say, oh wait, let me double check the date on that, and you can look and you can connect people, and that's the topic. So leaning in for your small talk, leaning into what you already know, what you already do, maybe whatever that that area of comfort is for you, even if small talk by itself is not a thing for you, but maybe it's sports, maybe it's outdoor recreation, maybe it's something that you do know, lean into that and let that be the thing to help you find those other people who are interested in that and start up the conversation around that.
I agree 100%. What I will add to that as well is I know that there's a lot of people that first interaction is always the scariest because for a lot of people, like the same thing I said before about social media, they don't want to be judged. They don't want to be ridiculed. They don't want to be made fun of. So what I always tell everybody, even if it was politics, what I always tell everybody is ask a question. Just
Mm-hmm.
there's no harm in asking an innocent question about like what someone said or what topic that they want to discuss. Hey, did you hear about this? Or and what I always wanted to point out is do not try to make it something negative. Like don't be like, can you believe this? Don't start that path. That is to me that is you could run into a wall. I think at the end of the day you have to have an innocent question that is something positive. Like, hey, have you ever been to Lake Aquabi? Have you ever gone fishing out there? Like I went out the other day. It was a really good time. Like that to me is an easy way that's going to make people not put up their wall of judgment right away. They're going to be like, oh yeah, because a lot of people are friendly in Iowa to answering those questions, and I think that is a real quick way if you are scared to interact like that to just ask innocent questions. And again, it's not going to work every time, but at least you're not going to offend anybody that way. You're not going to push them away. You're just asking a simple question.
You bet. Nathan, I've heard you say multiple times, put your phone down. What are some of your success stories on that? What are some of your tricks? What are some of your joys on that? What you got on putting your phone down?
Well, I think when it comes to it, like when we were doing our tour and going out there, we didn't want anybody when we were chatting, obviously having their phone up and trying to record me necessarily, but also just looking at everything because that's what people do. Sounds bad to say this, but when they're bored, that's what they do. And I think what I recommend for a lot of people in my household in general is to put those time. If you have kids like I do, or if you have a family that likes to be on social media and likes to scroll or whatever, that is to me is okay. I understand it, but give yourself time to be that family, or give yourself time to be that person outside of this social media. So make sure that in your schedule or in your time frame when you get home, like, hey, I'm gonna put my phone down from this time to this time. I'm gonna cook dinner. I'm gonna interact with my family. I'm gonna go work on my car. Just schedule that in consciously in your schedule every day. Like for me, one of the things that I do every single day is I never look. I don't turn my TV on, and I don't really look at my phone until about this time, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning, because it sounds weird to say this, but I like just to sit in my chair and just think and breathe and just enjoy my pets, my dogs, my cats. Like I like to just have that moment to myself and then go from there. And I think that is a moment of clarity for me. It's a moment of I still get to enjoy little things here, and I'm not just sucked into social media or whatever we're seeing on our phones that is making us get angry, because it seems like that's what we get most of the time on social media and TV now is people want a reaction. And I think that is the thing to do, is just schedule that moment, schedule that time with your family, maybe even like on a Sunday evening, like, hey, Sunday evenings from 5 o'clock until everybody goes to bed, we're going to put our phones away, we're going to watch a family movie together, we're going to play a board game, we're going to do whatever we can to be family members and have communication instead of just looking at our phones, going into our separate rooms, and it being these, I don't know, down our echo chamber of what we like. And I think that is the thing that people need to do, that is just find a time. And if it's hard, if you're going, I don't have that time. Well, here, think about this. You got to drive to work, right? Put your phone down. You don't need your phone to work. Put on the music that you like. Just have those moments by yourself even that make you in a mood where hey, work sucks, but I'm going. Like, get yourself in that happy place to make sure that you can have those interactions with people. So that way, when you're talking to people and you're going to ask those questions, that you're not angry. You're in that moment of, yeah, I almost clarity where you can have those conversations. So what I say is schedule. You have to kind of schedule that out now. And me, I just learned, just like we tend to hear in my house, we don't really watch TV. We have TV on, but we don't really watch. It's more background noise most of the time. And I think that's what I would recommend to people is don't get so focused on social media that make it your life. You got to understand that your life is right in front of you, the people around you, and the more you focus on something like that, the more that you're not going to have the conversations and build yourself to go forward. And it's very hard, but that is what I would recommend is just scheduling those times for yourself and for your family and for your friends.
I love that. That's a reverse approach from some of the other techniques, and I love that you're elevating that because some of the other techniques are like minimize, restrict yourself to X number of times, to X number of minutes a day, or put a time block on how much time you can spend on social media. But I love the way you frame this as a schedule times without it. Like schedule,
Yes.
protect this time, protect this human time, right? It's a different way of approaching it. And I just really love that. Protect this time with your family, protect this time for whatever you're doing.
Do you want to know why I feel that way? I'll tell you. So I don't want to get emotional, but
No, please.
my dad passed away at 54 years old from cancer, and my mom passed away at 67 years old from cancer. And when you like, I keep wondering in my head, what would those conversations be like with my dad? Because I lost him at 22 years old. What would those conversations be like? What would interactions be like? And you miss those moments more than anything. So when you sit there and stare at your phone, you let the world pass you by. You let good people that you might not see very much very often pass by, and you don't want to live with regret. You don't want to so put the phone down, turn off the time, and have those moments, those human moments with your families, with your friends, because the last thing that you want to do is regret, because life is precious. You don't know when it's going to end. You don't know what's going to happen. I was really high in cancer rate, so you got to watch out for yourself. So you know that's why I am the way I am with it, because I don't want to sit here and continue to watch good people pass away and sit there and go, man, if I just had a little bit more moment, if I could just have that conversation, if I could just have this conversation, start having those conversations now.
Mm. Man, that's so powerful. It's about savoring every minute that we have.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to bring this back to even in the workplace. We of course want to. This is why at work they ask us to put our phones away. Is because when we're at work, we're supposed to be at work. So when we're at home, let's be at home. When we're with our family,
Yes.
let's be with our family. When we're in the moment, let's be in the moment. Let's not be mind controlled by these dumb little brick shaped devices. They don't need to control us.
When I was in the Marine Corps, we had a saying, because I worked in a motor pool, I was a mechanic. We had a saying, it stops at the fence line. So our lives stop at the fence line. When you're past the fence line, that's your family now. That's your world now. Like, that is the job that you're doing, is that's where you're interacting with those people. You're talking about work, you're talking about life. You're there. When you are past those, it's the same way with phone. When you're past that fence line, then you can joke, then you can talk about this and this. So it's the same way with us with our phones. Is like, when you go to work, like, yeah, put your phone down. This is the interaction. You want to have a human interaction. You want to meet people and that's the time to do it, when you can, and leave the division, the anger, social media, the crazy aside. Stop talking about it. Stop bringing it up. Let's interact like we are right now. Like me and you just chatting right now about life and about everything. Like, that's what people need to do more often, and it's something that I really hope more people can do, and stop focusing on what other people are saying about their lives, and start focusing on how their lives are with the people that are in them.
Oh, this is a great way to wrap this up. I don't even know if I want to add anything from here. This is just so beautiful. Is there anything that you would add to put a bow on what we've talked about today, Nathan?
I just think that people are there. I want everybody to understand that everybody out there that you are interacting with are human beings having a human experience. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know the problems they have. You don't know the issues that they're facing. You don't know the struggles that they have every day. So a little bit of kindness can go a long way. So stop with this anger. If someone cuts you off in traffic, like, I'm bad at it too. If they cut you off in traffic, let it go. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to go chase them down and create more chaos and more issues in your life? No, slow down. Like, life is quick, yes, but take those moments and cherish every moment that you have with the people around you, and understand that you are a human being having a human experience. So I think the last thing I'll say.
I love it. Nathan, if our listeners want to get a hold of you, they can, of course, reach out to us and we will connect them. Absolutely. But if they want to reach you directly, what's the best way for them to do that?
Sage Against the Machine IA@gmail.com is our Gmail. You can follow us on Sage Against the Machine podcast on Facebook, Sage Against the Machine on IA on Instagram and find us on Substack, Sage Against Machine. You'll find us that way. There's emails that you can reach out to. That's probably the easiest way. But I'll probably be walking around the farmer's market, and you and your husband will probably run into me again. I love running into Spencer every time I see him. So, but yeah, that's probably the easiest way. Follow us on social media. I just said it earlier today, we're the number 78th ranked podcast on Substack right now, so you'll be able to see us out there. We have our new episode coming up on Thursday. JD Schulten will be on there with us. Next week we got Jennifer Converse, and I gotta remember the last one. I can't remember Thursdays, but we have a lot of good people joining our podcast.
Fantastic. That's outstanding. And what is, this wouldn't be the Even Better podcast if I didn't ask you my trademark question. What's making you even better these days, Nathan?
Other people. What's making me better every day? Like one thing, I'm going to give a shout out to somebody that I absolutely love and adore, Jennifer Converse, who ran for Congress in the West Des Moines area. She had my back. She had me. Like what people don't see is the calling and asking for money and the day in and day out grind. And she was a person that I met on the campaign, that her mom loves me, and they would just continuously text me and say nice things like, "Hey, you're doing good. You're doing," like Jennifer does that now. And people like that in my life that keep me going, keep me motivated, my family, my wife. But Jennifer was a big push for me now. And the last person I'll say, if you know him, I know him. He's like a dad to me. Dr. Bob Leonard has pushed me since I got into radio. He smacks me in the head when I'm an idiot. He's not scared to tell me how he really feels, and that's what I cherish, and that's what I love.
Fantastic. Nathan, thank you so much for your time today. We are so, so grateful.
Thank you for having me. This is great.
This was a joy. To our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. And on behalf of all of us here at Your Clear Next Step, we hope the rest of your day is even better.
Thank you for listening to the Even Better podcast. Help us out by leaving a rating and review. Make sure to follow us so you don't miss an episode.